So my people, I'm live again. Yeah, they tried to put me down, but I survive again. Jesus helped me to rise again, and they surprise again. Yeah. Hey, so I want to say good afternoon, good evening, my people. And in some places, it's actually good morning. It's like 3:40 a.m. in Malaysia. So I want to say, I hope everyone is blessed. I pray that everyone is blessed. And we're going to be doing what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be looking at this guy called Jake, the Muslim Metaphysician. I went to a brother's channel and I saw where he actually totally, this is good research, seeking truth. I went to his channel and see where he have a brother exposing Jake, the Muslim metaphysician. But I remember doing a video earlier that this here that exposed him. So I said, let's kind of look into this guy and we see how mankind, and this is Muslims overall, Muslims way of doing things is to try to use their mind to fully understand God. And they will tell you that they cannot fully understand their God, but they want to use their mind to fully understand the Christian God. And this is where you see a lot of stupidity comes in. But before we do that, let me show you something, how deceptive Muslims can be. Just show you these Dawah Muslims are. If you tell me that Satan is not behind these people, I don't know, man. Satan got to be behind these people. So let me show you something that this Muslim did. And you just look at it and just say, wow, why do you do this? Why do they live the way they live? It's just ridiculous to see the way they decide to live. I don't know. Why do they do what they do? It's, wow. I don't even know what to say. So let me show you something from the Muslim. So the Muslim post Matthew 6. So what he's doing is attacking Paul. He's saying, oh, Paul, Jesus said this, and Paul said this, and Jesus said this. And he doesn't understand what Paul is saying, but at the same time, he's attacking Paul. And I will show you, that he doesn't understand what Paul is saying at all. He have no clue what Paul is saying, but he is attacking Paul. But it's so crazy what Peter says about people like this Muslim. Peter said about Paul, he write the same way in all his letters, speaking in them of these matters. His letter contain some things that are hard to understand, which ignorant and unstable people distort, so they do the other scriptures to their own destruction. And that we find in 2 Peter 3, verse 16. 2 Peter 3, verse 16. So Peter talking about how Paul writes. He says Paul write things that are hard to understand, which ignorant and unstable people distort, as they do the other scriptures to their own destruction. And look what the Muslim do. Just look what he did. He says, make sure that you guys are seeing what I'm want you to see here. So you see how Muslims are very disrespectful to literature. They don't respect literature. Have no respect for literature at all. And you will see that as we are looking into these things. They have no respect for the literature that they read. and they will put their own thoughts and their own idea into literature that they are reading, because they have no respect for it. And when you have no respect for something, you do anything. So what you see, Matthew 6 verse 6, but thou, when thou prayest, enter into thy closet. He shouldn't even post this verse, because here it is, the Messiah is telling you, when you pray, enter into your closet. You don't holler out and tell the world that you're praying, or you pray in public areas like these Muslims do. So the Messiah is saying, and when thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut the door, pray too. Notice what this idiot do. He add to the verse. He put in parentheses, creator, Lord, nourisher, sustainer, often mistranslated as father. And do you see how dumb this guy is? He don't know that we are living in the era where we can go to the internet and see what the actual word is supposed to mean. He said often mistranslated as father. But is that true? Is that true that the verse is he telling the truth? That there is a mistranslation in this verse? Is there a mistranslation in that verse? Or is he just a liar like Uthman Fibin Farouk and Mohammed and the rest of the gang? You know, this is how disrespectful these people are. They want to dictate what should be in a literature. But if you look at what this Abdul says, you will see that he's lying. He says often mistranslated as father. You go to the real Greek, what do you see there? Let's take a journey and just show you how deceptive this wolf is, that these people don't have any respect for anything. And let me show you what his name is, if his name is there, because sometimes they use these Arabic name that you cannot. Yeah, here, there he is. He's the same idiot. Yeah. He said, was Paul a false apostle? And this is the naive donkey. So you will see that he saying, was Paul a false apostle, when he himself is false. He is a fake, because he is quoting from the Bible and misrepresenting what is in the Bible. He go to Matthew 6 verse 6, and he's looking at a verse and then mistranslating what's inside the misrepresenting, I should say, what's there. Matthew 6 verse 6, according to him, when the word father is written, it should be creator, Lord, nourisher, sustainer. He said often mistranslated as father. So what he wants to say, that Jesus didn't actually use the word father. That's what this lying Abdul want to say, that Jesus did not actually use the word father. But how do we know that Jesus actually used the word father? Is by looking at what the Greek says. This guy is such a donkey, you know, galloping all over Facebook, just lying. That's what they do. They lie. The whole thing in for a Muslim is to lie. That's what the whole thing for a Muslim is. So look at this. Here we are at the Greek, we are at the interlinear, and then when you look at there, what do you see right here? What do you see here? Patri. Do you see the Greek word and what that means, father? Patri, does it mean Lord? No. That's not what mean Lord. Do you see how deceptive these Muslims are? Very, very deceptive. So in his attack on Paul, he's showing that he is he's saying, is Paul a true apostle? But he is showing that he himself, there is no truth in him, because he is lying. He's a liar. So how are you going to attack Paul when you're a liar? that means you're not going to represent him in the true light that he's supposed to be represented. And let me show you that this idiot did not represent Paul in the true light. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Nice to have you here. A donkey is here. Look at this donkey here. The donkey is here. So let's give him a part of since he's a puppet. Let's give him a part of the. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you. I respect you all. You know, even though I call him a donkey, I still have love for him. I love donkeys. But if you're a donkey, you're just a donkey. You can't change that unless you follow Jesus. You know, the only way for him to stop being a donkey is to throw Muhammad to the curve and follow the Messiah. But look how stupid this idiot is. Let me show you how stupid he is. Where Paul says something, and you're going to see that this guy don't understand nothing that Paul is saying. And just to show you that he's not qualified to talk about Paul because he doesn't understand what Paul is saying. So let me show you where Paul says something, and this naive guy. And this naive guy gonna say, totally misunderstood what Paul is saying. So just to show you that this guy doesn't know anything how to understand the Bible. He was talking about something about the law, and I just want to show you this, just to show you how stupid this guy is. Boom, boom, boom. Let me show you. Right here. I don't see it here, but anyway, look what he talks about. Let me show you what he talks about. He said Jesus said he was sent to the last sheep of Israel. There's somewhere where he said Jesus was sent only to the last sheep of Israel. So he took one verse out of the Bible and he says, oh, here it is. Here it is. Roman 10 verse 4, where Paul says, for Christ is the end of the law. I literally believe that Paul is saying that Christ is the law. There is no more law with Christ, but that's not what Paul is saying, because Paul speaks about the law of Christ. So if you go let me show you. Paul speak about the law of Christ. I think it's 1 Corinthians 9. I'm not, let me see. If those who are, yes. So Paul says, to those who are under without law, as without law, though not being without the law of God, but under the law of Christ. So Paul, when Paul says Christ is the end of the law, he wasn't saying that he wasn't saying that there is no law, that Christ totally get rid of the law. What he's saying, that Christ is the fullness. When he says the word end there, you know, if you look at the word end, you know, and that's what I like, you know, a lot of people don't think like, oh, we are living in a time where you should look up what things mean. You know, a person says Christ is the end of the law, doesn't mean that he's saying that there is no law. A final part of something. See the word end? It means a final part of something, especially a period of time or activity or a story. So when Paul says Christ is the end of the law, Paul is telling you that Christ is the final part of the law, the finality of the law. And this idiot believes that Paul is saying that there is no law because there is no law under Christ. That's what Paul was saying. Paul is saying because Paul is saying that Christ is the fullness, the finality of the law. That's what he's saying when he says Christ is the end of the law. He doesn't mean that there is no law under Christ, because elsewhere Paul says in 1 Corinthians 9 verse 21, Paul says, to those who are without law, as without law, though not being without the law of God, but under the law of Christ. Galatians 6 verse 2, he says, bear one another's burden and thereby fulfill the law of Christ. So when he say Christ is the end of the law, he means Christ is the fullness, the finality of the law. And this is why you're good to use your dictionary, because these Abduls see the word end. Paul is telling you that the law, there is no more law. That's not what he's telling you. He's telling you that Moses' law was not the finality of the law. The law that given to Moses was not the finality. It was not in its fullness. So Christ is the fullness, the end of the law. Christ is the fulfillment, the completion of the law. That's what he's telling you. You look at the word end. It says the furthest or most extreme part or point of something. So Christ is the furthest or most extreme part or point of the law. That's what Paul is saying. Paul didn't tell you that, oh, Christ abolished the law. No, he wasn't telling you that. But these Abduls, when they see things, their brain is in the box called Islam, the stupidity that Muhammad, a nasty bandit from the 7th century, created, to the point where they cannot reason. They cannot see beyond nothing. If I look and I see Paul telling you, do we make void the law? Paul actually say, do we make void the law? Paul says that, and he said, God forbid. Romans 3 verse 31, Paul says, do we then make void the law through faith? He said, God forbid. So if he's saying that, he said, God forbid, we establish the law. So if Paul is telling you that the law is established through faith, how are you going to say that Paul is against the law? Paul is not against the law. When Paul talk about the law in certain places, he's talking about the way the law is represented through Moses. And if this idiot should read his own Quran, Quran 3 verse 50, he will see where Muhammad, the semen-covered bandit, is saying that Isa, the fake Jesus, make lawful for the Jews things that were forbidden for them. That mean Isa amended the law or complete the law for the Jews. Do you see how stupid these Muslims are? When they see something, they gallop off like a donkey. They have to, because they are donkeys. I'm not talking about all Muslims when I'm talking here, because they are Muslims who are gullible, following something they don't understand. But then there are Muslims, these Dawa donkeys, they are deceptive. They are totally deceptive. You see how I started out showing how deceptive this donkey is? Because this donkey says Matthew 6 verse 6 does not say Father, it say Lord, sustainer, mistranslated to mean Father. And when you go to the Greek, it actually say Patri, and Patri mean Father. Do you see how stupid this donkey is? When does Patri become Lord? And it's kudos, if I'm pronouncing the word right, mean Lord. Do you see how naive and limited these gullible Muslims are? They're so gullible and naive and limited to the point where their reasoning is like that of a 1-year-old baby. Babble, babble, blah, 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 blah. That's all they say. When you listen to them, that's all you hear. You don't hear no sense. You don't hear nothing that makes sense from the mouth of these people. Christ is the end of the law doesn't mean that Paul is saying that there is no law with Christ. What he is saying, what Paul is saying is Christ is the fullness of the law. The word end doesn't have one meaning, Abdul. The word end doesn't have one meaning. Not because you see the word end, you gallop off like a donkey and start braying. It doesn't have one meaning. The word end, as I read the definition of the word, it says the final part of something. We know that. The end of the road mean the final part of the road. So Christ is the end of the law, the final part of the law, the finality of the law. And that is true. It is totally true. It is totally true. He is the Messiah. He is the Messiah, the one that the Jew awaited for. So he is the end of things. He is the end, the finality of things. So when the idiot is misrepresenting what Paul mean. So he says, Jesus says, if any what he says, whosoever therefore shall break one of the least of these commandments and shall teach men to do so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But notice what Jesus is saying here that the Abdul miss out. Think not that I have come to change the law or the prophet, as some translator says. He means that think not that I have come to abolish the law. That's what it actually means. That's what it actually says. Think not that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to destroy. So you notice what he says, abolish and destroy. Abolish means to get rid of something. He says, I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. What do you mean? The word fulfill means to complete. If you look up the word fulfill, one of the definition of the word fulfill is to complete. And we see where Jesus went on in the same book of Matthew 5 and started to complete in the law. He started the process of completing the law. It was said, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, but don't do this. We are not following an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth no more. This is what you need to do. So he's completing the law. Then he says about the divorce, where in the days you could write a woman a bill of divorce. But he says, hey, only way you could write a woman a bill of divorce is if she commit sexually immoral act. Then he says, if that woman is divorced without a cause or divorce, and the next man married to that woman, that man commit adultery and cause the woman to commit adultery. And Muhammad did something like that with Zainab and Zayd. He took his adopted son's wife, lusted after her, did not stop until he wrote a Quranic verse taking his adopted son's wife. So you see that the Messiah was fulfilling the law. So when Paul wrote in Romans 10 verse 4, for Christ is the end of the law, he means Christ is the purpose of the law, the end purpose, the finality of the law, as the definition of the word end says. A final part of something, the furthest or most extreme part or point of something. And Christ, the Messiah, God manifested as a man, is the final, the extreme part of the law. He himself is the law. Following Christ is the law. So let's get out of this, because sometimes the donkey will take you off track. So when you have a donkey, the donkeys will take you off track. So my people. So I see Dragon is here. Dragon, we need to work out this thing, but it's you have to help me go through it. Thank you for your work. Thank you, my friend. God bless you, man. God bless you. God bless all of you. Good evening, Prince of Peace. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. And I see Crunchy is here. Greeting and blessing to you, Crunchy. Thank you for supporting me, man. I'll be talking to myself without you guys. So thank you. And this guy said I don't have the gut to debate him. What a guy, man. He's a beautiful guy. This guy is something else. But anyway, let's show you something about the meta-retard. Let's show you something about this meta-retard. Okay, let me send you the link. The people, anybody want to come on, I'll send them the link. So let me get this link ready so that anybody could come on. Who want to come on could come on. Even the Abdul, if he want to come on, we could talk about his brother Jake together. If he can calm himself down, I don't think he can. He's incapable of calming himself. But look, so here we go. Here is a clip with this guy called Jake, and he's debating Christians, saying that the Trinity is incoherent, that there is no way to explain the Trinity. And we show you how he totally got destroyed. So he's on this Kenny Boomer, you know Kenny Boomer. Kenny Boomer, man. That guy is something else. So he's on this Kenny Boomer, consider this TV, and you will see where this guy is actually debating Trinitarian. And I would advise Trinitarian not to debate this guy. You know why I would say that? Because what? According to the book of Job, you cannot fathom the mysteries of God. So when you are here in a debate with an idiot like this, you are actually putting yourself to a point where you think that you can fathom the mysteries of God. And according to the book of Job, you cannot fully fathom the mystery of God. So, you could, if somebody asks you about the Trinity, you explain to them how the Trinity goes, how the Trinity is. But one thing you must realize, you cannot fully, totally understand God at all. You cannot. Because what? He's beyond our understanding. God is infinite, and our mind is a finite mind. And the only thing we can explain about God is what God allows us to see about himself. So here we go.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, I'd like to say something about that. So,
what was that?
Now, when we talk about, as we talked about divine simplicity earlier with sort of the Aquinas model, here's going to be my pushback. I just want to take it a step further now about something I think you should consider. You know, Aquinas' 5 ways that he goes through, kind of like arguing how we can rationally, prove that God exists, right? So in these, I mean, these arguments are predicated based on the idea of getting from contingent properties of the world to an I say God that is the metaphysical stopping point of those explanations, because that sort of being doesn't have an explanation outside of himself. He has the explanation within his own nature. And so what I'm saying is that, number one,
do you hear what he's saying? Even himself is contradicting himself. He says, a Hase God, Hase being, of the explanation within himself, and doesn't have and cannot be explained outside of himself. But as I say, God, we can only explain God based on what God revealed about himself, based on what God revealed. You cannot go beyond. But what metaphysics and all this stuff do, they try to go beyond what God explained about himself. And that's what you see people like Jake does. When you say, is the Trinity coherent, that means you are actually going beyond what God revealed about himself. You know, so he's totally in contradiction with himself. But you see what he says, is the Trinity coherent? That means this guy believed that man made something from man's mind could define what is incoherent about God. You know, if God revealed himself, you could say, oh, that's not possible for God to do this. It's not possible for God to be this way. Like, oh, it is possible for a man to be one person, totally one person, and cannot be other than one person because he's a creature. But it is impossible for God to be more than one person. And it is incoherent. According to what? According to man's understanding? Or is it incoherent according to God's understanding? Because if you notice what he just says, let's repeat what he said.
Is our saying that he's not dependent on anything and all those sort of things. The problem I have with that is it seems to be that unless you have some form of dependency, you have to assume what we were speaking about.
Yeah. I mean,
difficult to understand.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to say something about that. So, now when we talk about, as we talked about divine simplicity earlier with sort of the Aquinas model, here's going to be my pushback.
And then even this divine simplicity, other stuff, and the Aquinas model and all that stuff. This is men trying to understand God. This is men trying to understand God. So at the end of the day, like I always say to myself when I hear these things, like, man, you indulge yourself so much into these things. And if you notice, that's all he cares about. That's all he cares about. That's all he cares about. To talk about philosophy and metaphysics and God. Philosophy created by man, metaphysics created by man, and he believed that these things can totally tell you about who God is and explain God, and and it is irrational beyond metaphysics and beyond philosophy to think about God in any way beyond those things, because what? God is not beyond man's thinking, according to this Abdul.
Just want to take it a step further now about something I think you should consider. You know Aquinas' 5 ways that he goes through, kind of like arguing how we can rationally, prove that God exists, right? So in these, these arguments are predicated based on the idea of getting from contingent properties of the world to an I say God that is the metaphysical stopping point of those explanations, because that sort of being doesn't have an explanation outside of himself. He has
that kind of being does not have an explanation outside of himself. But here he is. This is the topic. Is the Trinity coherent? So he's reading about this man model, and he's saying that this kind of being have no explanation outside of himself. But look at what we're gonna see, how this man's brothers are against his way of reasoning. They're totally against his way of reasoning. I will show you where his brothers are not agreeing with him reasoning in this sense, because they are seeing him as not a Muslim. When he reasoned this way, he's not a Muslim. Oh, sorry. My sister, I didn't notice that you were there.
You didn't look. You didn't look.
No,
that's why.
No, sorry. I was talking and I did not. Yeah. Sorry. So
brother,
if you look
as I right remember, his name is Jake the Metaphysician.
Yes,
is the name of that guy.
Yes, that's what his name is. So, but if my sister, look at this, how crazy this is. So here is his brother. I'm gonna share you a video where his brothers are actually talking about him. They're not calling his name, but they're talking about him. You know, they're talking about him and others. You know, and so let me show you this video. They're talking about Ali Dawa and people like him. So here we go. We'll share this video here, and we'll see here.
So then what do? They pick up a pen, and a few of them have done this, and say, is this pen contingent? And they was done with the apostate prophet as well. Is it contingent or is it necessary? My answer, our answer would be, who cares? So what? So what if I don't understand where you clearly this is a trick, right? You're trying to trip me up. If I say the pen is necessary, khalas, is a hujjah being established upon me? Can you say to the person, you're a kafir, you've rejected Islam because you've said that the pen is necessary. You should have said it's contingent. And let's say the non-Muslim says, the atheist says, the pen is contingent. Welcome, brother, you're a Muslim. It doesn't work like that. You can reject the argument and still be a Muslim. Why? Because it doesn't make sense to me. Why have I believed? As Allah says, amantu billah wa rasulihi. What was the prescription the Prophet gave? The Prophet gave a prescription. When someone comes to you with a doubt and says, who created Allah? They will get into all of these contingency arguments, right? What did the Prophet say though? Say, I believed in Allah and His Messenger. Or in the hadith, in different similar type of conundrums that they put you into, say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Seek refuge in Allah. So this is the evil of bid'ah. One of the evils of bid'ah is not only are you introducing something which is innovative, which is this pagan philosophical way of inviting to something which is actually not an Islamic objective, which is belief in the existence of a creator, but also you're hiding or you're covering up or you're making people forget the Sunnah, which is to say, I believe in Allah and His books. I believe in Allah.
So this Muslim is saying that all these unnecessary things that they're doing, going into these philosophical explanation and all these things, all they had to say is, I believe in Allah. I believe in Allah. So he actually called the way that Jake approached Christian, he called it pagan. He called it paganism, because he's saying that kind of reasoning is not from Islam, and he called it paganism. As we go further into the video, you will see where the brother actually mentioned the word metaphysics and stuff, and I know from there that he's actually talking about people like Jake when he's talking about this portion of it. Do you have anything to say, my sister?
Oh yes. He say, why you have to mute yourself, it's echo.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, doesn't matter. He said, who created Allah? So Allah was created from sweat of the horse. He chased them to run and then collect the sweat, but who collect the sweat and who caused them to run? That's the point.
I've never heard this one before. I never heard this.
Oh, really? Really? I hear that. So he was created he created himself, so from sweat of the horses. He chased them to run and then collect the sweat, and so is Allah created. But who done that if nothing exists and he was created from them? And who created the horses? So we can philosophically discuss till tomorrow or till 1,000 years. We will not find the answer. But they have always answered. No. Allahu alam. Allahu alam.
The one I heard is that Allah created is mercy, and I actually have Quranic verses and the hadith that shows that Allah create mercy, and this is why you realize that the God in Islam is not really God, because no attribute of God is created. God cannot create His attribute.
I agree, but they say always, how can God be man and be God, and how can God eat and go to the toilet and something like that? But they do that always, brother, just to divert the discussion because they don't have an answer about Quran. They are just embarrassed, you know. So they have to divert to cover the stupidity in their own book. You are muted, brother.
So we're gonna see where the guy actually reveal that the way Jake approached Christian is pagan, is a pagan way to approach Christian.
And his messengers, or to say A'udhu Billah. That's the response the Prophet taught us to say when such doubts come to us. So this thing, whether you believe a pen is contingent or necessary, so what? So what if you give the wrong answer? It's not hujjah. I was going to say not only that, but the brothers who are employing this argument are being a bit deceptive, knowingly or unknowingly. Some of them surely know. These arguments, the Kalam cosmological argument, even Sina's Burhan argument, this contingency argument, the way they're dressing it up, if they were honest with it and go to its origins cause you to deny Allah himself, at least the Allah that we believe in. It will, because this comes from Greek philosophy. The Greeks, this is why and we covered this to some extent, where does this ta'til, this denial of Allah's attributes come from? It's because Muslims and hypocrites who are feigning Islam try to contort Islamic belief system according to pagan metaphysics, Aristotelian Neoplatonic metaphysics.
Do you see what he says? He says Muslims are trying to contort to fit Islamic belief, to fit Islam into pagan metaphysics. And do you notice that Jake, he called himself the metaphysician? The metaphysician,
yes, that's his name. Yeah.
So he called himself the metaphysician. So what he do is he bend things to fit, bend Islam to fit into metaphysics, and the same way he's trying to tell you that Christianity doesn't fit into metaphysics, so Christianity can never be true. And that means God must be aligned with men belief, the belief of man, things that are, God didn't create metaphysics. God did not create metaphysics. You will never see nowhere in the Bible that says anything about metaphysics in the Bible and the way that man understands stuff. God is telling you that his ways are beyond your understanding. You cannot fathom the mystery of the Almighty. If you go to the book of Job 11, you will see, can you fathom the mysteries of God? Can you probe the limits of the Almighty? So the moment you can say that you fully understand God and God is this way, this is where God is, then you actually have put God to a limit. You have a limit, God, then you limit God to what your understanding is. And Job went on to say in verse 8, they are higher than the heavens above. What can you do? They are deeper than the depths below. What can you know? Their measure is longer than the earth and wider than the sea. He's just telling you like, hey, you cannot fully understand the Creator. But what you see here is this guy, metaphysician guy, Jake, is trying to use what man, the ideas of man, to put God into a box in the mind of man. The small mind that God created for man, he's trying to use that to confine God, to imprison God in his own mind.
Their understanding of the ghaib. And we know the ghaib, Allah is alam al-ghuyub. He's the one who knows the unseen. And the only thing we know of the unseen is what he, subhanahu wa ta'ala, has revealed to us via the agency of his messenger Muhammad. So
you see what the guy said. The only God control Allah, his God, his God, control this fake God, control the unseen. And the only thing he know about his God is what God revealed. And that's what I show from the beginning of the video, that the only thing we know about God is what God wants us to know about himself. The other things, don't care how much your brain work out metaphysics, it will never fully understand God Almighty. You can never fully understand God, because God is beyond your understanding. The only thing you can understand about God is what God allow you to understand about himself. God allow you to understand about God. You can't understand more than that, you know. But what man is trying to do, Jake is trying to do, is to confine the God to his way of thoughts and the way of man, the way that man think. God must be within this box that man think about.
And even Muhammad did not have the keys to the unseen. It's what Allah gave him through the agency of Jibreel alayhi salam. That's how we know what we know about Allah. And we don't know anything else about Allah. So the pagans did not have any scriptural resource from which they were arguing. So they used their aql, their intellect, because they had no naql, they had no transmitted revelation. So for them, according to them, okay, if you're to take this argument to its logical conclusion, they will say, and this is said, that the necessary being, amongst other things, has no parts. This is one of the parts. I just want to pick up on this one of these points, because we don't want to get too much into the theology of it. This is what caused the Mu'tazilite to deny the Quran, because they're saying, if you say the Quran is with you, then you're saying God has parts, his attributes, they are parts which you can, hold and possess or recite, and the necessary being can't have parts. Therefore, the Quran is created. It's not a part of him. It's not his sifa, and so on. So you can see how this works. And that's why, at least be honest, you brothers who are coming out with these arguments, at least William Lane Craig, who is a brilliant orator, a Christian apologist, and he openly says, I took this from Ghazali. And this is why we will say Ghazali was wrong. He took this from, he was an Ashari, and Imam Ashari, Abul Hasan Ashari. May Allah forgive all of these, by the way. They're all Muslims. We don't deny their Islam. And they did a great service to Islam. And they were right in many aspects, but they were wrong in many aspects. And the many aspects primarily they were wrong in is that they took their theology, or they forced their theology into the casing and the mold of Greek pagan philosophy, theophilosophy.
And that's exactly what Jake is doing. He's trying to force Christianity and try to force the Christian thought into pagan invention and into man's invention, which is philosophy. Man invent this thing, and you're trying to force God into something that man invent. It's crazy. It's like man invent a car, like a little Mini Cooper, and you are trying to force a almost 200 pound Brahma bull into a Mini Cooper, and which is impossible. You cannot force a grown male buffalo into a Mini Cooper. But that's what Jake is trying to do. Use man's idea, the thing that man create, to force God into what man create. And right here, we're going to show you actually another video with the same Muslim who is actually showing that, is disgust for people the way Jake behave, his whole way of understanding and philosophy is actually showing his disgust for that kind of stuff.
We should remember that Shaitan's goal is to lead us astray. He wants us to follow in his footsteps so we can deviate from the straight path of Islam. And the tactics that Shaitan will use, it's not always so obvious to everyone in the beginning. So as we read through this email, keep in mind that there are basically 3 steps of deception that Shaitan uses to lead people astray using philosophy. Step 1 is the fascination with human intellect. Now, this in and of itself isn't necessarily a problem. And this is why it might not be so obvious to everyone. But once somebody starts delving into philosophy, they'll quickly find teachings that conflict with Islam. They'll find that philosophers have deified their intellect above divine revelation. So this forces one to make a very important decision. Are they going to...
And that's what Jake do. he put his philosophy, his understanding and his philosophy, and he believes he's so intelligent that he put it above what a Christian consider divine, what Christian know is divine, and what Islam consider as divine. He actually put that his understanding above this kind of thing. And we will see in the next video that, you know, he's schooled by a guy. I don't know if this guy is a Christian or what, but the guy schooled him because of this kind of behavior. The guy, I think, was you know, just totally tired of listening to this idiot, so he decided to school him. And you will see right here where the guy totally schooled him.
You can record me and you could put it on your little YouTube channel.
So you see all this. This is how he is. You can record me and you can put it on your little YouTube channel, because what this guy is about is popularity. You know, if he come across a video where a person with a small YouTube channel is talking about him, he leave it alone. He's into I remember one time he calling out Sam Shamoun and Atun Touch, and he actually mentioned that these people have the other people have small channel. He want the big people. He's calling out the people with the big channel, because his popularity for this guy is nothing more than him seeking attention. You know, he didn't. I don't think he get enough attention when he was a kid, so now he's out here trying to seek attention. So if you notice he's ranting, you can put it on your little YouTube.
You can record me and
you can put it on your little YouTube channel.
You can record me and you could put it on your little YouTube channel or whatever you want to do.
If the Athari comes and says either tafwid al-mahna, which is we don't know what it means, or if the Athari says we affirm it but we don't know how, which is bila kayf, and only God knows how, well, this is an appeal to mystery. Okay, the Athari creed is an appeal to mystery. Now, this is fine if you want to appeal to mystery, but then Jake, if you are a true blue Athari and you do tafwid al-mahna or tafwid al-kayf, fine, you should stop debating with Christians, because the Christian Trinitarians, they do this tafwid al-mahna and tafwid al-kayf. Professor Wilmer says regarding the Trinity, we don't know why there could be or how there could be three persons in one God. And Stephen David says the Trinity is a mystery to us, but it's not a mystery to God. This is just a Christian form of tafwid. So if the Athari is going to do tafwid, fine, but then you need to cancel your debating career against the Christians, because they can do exactly the same thing.
Do you see that? Do you see what the guy said to him? That even in his own religion, people are saying that there are things that they don't understand about Allah. But he is every day sitting here debating Christians, trying to get them to use this human philosophy created by human to understand their God. No, we don't have to follow those things. All we have to do is follow the word of God, the revelation of God. We don't have to listen to all these philosophical stupidness and all that stuff. No, that's only for this idiot. You know, that's only for him, because he's trying to put man's intelligence at forefront. He's in admiration of man's intelligence, and he's not in admiration of God. He believes that man's intelligence can trap God and put God in his place. Like, hey, let's put God in his place. You know, this God is acting like he's greater than everything, so let's put him in his place. You know, by the invention of man. And the brothers, our sisters seeking truth, also have another video on this naive wolf, where it's actually a video that is reveal the wolf. So let me just play this one too.
You can record me and you could put it on your little YouTube.
So you see, he's into this. You can record me, you can put it on your little YouTube channel.
Or whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Okay, you just asked me about necessary creation, right? So here, can I just state my view of what I mean by creation is necessary, and you can comment on it if that's okay.
Go ahead,
So
do whatever you
my
want.
view is this, okay? The will of God is necessary. Every decision, choice that God has made could not have been any other way, okay? It's the best possible choice. And any choice God has made, it is impossible to conceive that it could have been other way. This is my position. Is that position compatible with Islam according to you or not?
Is that position compatible with Islam? In what sense? You're saying, does that make you a non-Muslim if you believe
No,
that?
does it go against Tawheed to believe
Yes,
what
it does. It
So
goes
to
against
believe-
Tawheed in the sense that you're saying that God does not have free will, that creation is just necessitated by his essence. Yes, that goes against Islam because the Quran and the authentic Sunnah say otherwise.
Again, I didn't say necessitated by its essence. I simply said.
Do you see? You don't even listen. He's naive to the point that he don't even listen. He think he knows Islam, but he don't. The guy didn't say what he say. The guy said. Then let me let the guy repeat what he says.
Every decision, choice that God has made could not have been any other way. And any choice that he's made, it's impossible to conceive that it could have been any other way. That's
because the guy is saying that if the choices that God made, if it was any other way, that means there's alternative choices. God have there's a choice outside of God. There's choices outside of God. No, God always make the best choices. You know, the only choice, the necessary choice. That's what God made. That's what the guy is saying. But his intellect can't allow him to see that what the guy is saying. You know, I think it was Peter Touch, reggae artist, one of the whaler for Bob Marley, one of the singer that sing with Bob Marley, says, I think he says, if he had gone to school, he would be a fool. And what he's saying that, you know, if you listen to that guy, you could tell that guy, even though he was not a godly guy, you know, they believe in Rastafarianism and they don't believe in God to the fullness. But if you listen to the guy, you will see that Peter Tosh was not an idiot. He was not an idiot in the sense of earthly, worldly knowledge, but he didn't go to. He hadn't gone on to school. He maybe went to primary school, but he haven't gone on to secondary or any form of other education. But his reasoning, when it comes to worldly reasoning, was up to par. And he said if he had gone to school, he would be a fool. And Jake is one of those people who are what you would say a scholarly idiot. And to the point where they study, they dedicate themselves to one thing to the point where they can't even reason. They can't even see beyond what that little box that they create for themselves. And he's trying to put God into that stupid box that he created for himself, to the point where the guy make a good statement that what God did is necessary. So if you say no, that means you are saying that what God did is unnecessary. If you oppose a man saying that what God did is necessary, that means you are saying that what Allah did was unnecessary. If the man said what Allah did was necessary, and you are saying no, then mean what Allah did was unnecessary. Then Allah could never be God. Allah could never be God, because I do unnecessary things at times. You know, at times as a human, I do unnecessary things, especially in the past. I did a lot of unnecessary things. Even now, I do unnecessary things. Sometimes I overeat. I eat too much. And unnecessary for you to, it's not necessary for you to overeat. It's necessary for you to eat to survive. But it's not necessary for you to eat 3 meals a day. No, it's not. You could eat 2 meals and still maintain your health. We don't have to eat 3 times a day. It's necessary to drink a lot of water, but it's not necessary to eat 3 meals a day. And then, especially in America, we eat in 3 big meals most of the time. So it's unnecessary, you know? Totally unnecessary. It's unnecessary to have 5 pairs of shoes and 6 pairs of shoes. You don't. It's not necessary for you to have 6 pairs of shoes. 1 pair of shoes is okay. 2 pairs of shoes is okay. Well, this is how we live. But at the end of the day, for you to say that the choices of God is not necessary, then it is unnecessary. The opposite of necessary is unnecessary.
My position. Is that compatible with Tawheed or incompatible?
I take As-Sijistani's position in his refutation of it.
Okay, so again, can you answer, is what I just said compatible with Tawheed? God's decision could not have been any other way. Is it compatible with Tawheed?
Insofar as I understand you, your position is not in agreement with Tawheed.
Okay, so again, every decision or choice that God has made could not have been any other way. That's not compatible with Tawheed. Okay, so if a Muslim that you knew of held this view, okay, would you support their work? Would you promote this? So are you okay promoting this view of God's will cannot be otherwise? Are you okay with that being taught to other Muslims?
Depends who it is.
A person who believes this is teaching this to other Muslims.
Yeah, I would have to speak to them because I can't trust your representation.
You couldn't conceive that the results would be any other way. It's the best possible choice that can be made. It's necessary.
So is it even possible to conceive that God couldn't have chosen it?
Say that again.
So is it even impossible to conceive that God couldn't?
Yeah. It's impossible to any choice that God has made. It's impossible to conceive that it could have been any other way.
Well, look.
Do you see that? Do you see? This guy is just a naive wannabe pretending, man. In any logical way, you are saying that what God chooses to do is not necessary. It's unnecessary.
Brother, did you hear him saying, depend who it is?
Yeah, yes. Okay, let me turn my mic on so you could to talk my sister. Okay, well, hold on a minute. Turn my mic.
I'm telling you, did you hear how he says, depend who it is? When he asked him, do you want to talk like that with somebody who is a Muslim?
Yeah.
And he said,
Yes.
depend who it is. And before the other one makes a mistake anyway. He says there are many things in Quran who are bila kaif. Bila kaif is wrong anyway. It's bila kaif. So they made mistake. Bila kaif means they don't have answer, you know.
See, right. There are many things in the Quran and many things in Islam that they don't have answer for, you know. But the funny thing about Jake, he's him saying it depends on who. You know, I'm just telling you that this guy is such a fraud and such a narrow-minded a fool that he can't see what he's saying. If you're saying that anything that God do is not necessary, it's not necessary. The things that God does is not necessary. Then guess what? It's unnecessary. So why is God doing unnecessary things? You know, it's not necessary to his existence for him to do anything. He's not dependable. He's not dependent on anything. But what he do is necessary. That's what the guy is trying to say to him, that what God does is necessary. He doesn't do unnecessary things. You know, that's what the guy wanted to say to him. Like in our life, anything that God do in our life, it is necessary. But because Jake So you're just saying that whatever Allah do is necessary. We know that Allah is not the real God, but you know, Allah is a fraud God made up by Muhammad. But you know, I'm just saying that I understand what the Dr. Khalil is saying to him, that quote unquote God does things that are necessary. He doesn't do unnecessary things. Like in the life of man, providing food for man, it is necessary. The punishment of sin, it is necessary. Why is it necessary? In order for us to live the life that God wants us to live, he have to punish the sinner. So these things are necessary. And I see where the Dr. Khalil is coming from. But Jake, I don't know, man. Jake is like a baby, man. Like his mind is mushy, like a, you know, he needs somebody to tickle his throat, man. I don't know. He's a baby. He's like a child, you know. But he believes that his reasoning is so advanced that to the point where he's just making a fool of himself, like a total fraud of himself. I don't know about this guy.
If I believe that God's choice could not have been any other way, you would agree this doesn't meet Tawheed, right?
Well, who are we talking about? Somebody alive or dead?
I'm just giving.
Why is that necessary if the person is alive or dead? Oh, wow.
Giving you my position first, because I don't know
5-minute warning.
You think it's okay or it's not okay to believe God's will could not have been any other way.
Yeah, I just want to know, because you're talking if I know the person personally.
Yeah, you know me. I'm telling you my position, because
yeah, I don't believe your position is Tawheed because it goes against the text.
For you then is, why is it the case that you work for someone who has the exact same position of Tawheed on God's will not being any other way as me? I actually just read to you verbatim what I read to you, the words of Muhammad Hijab in his London Nia video published 6 months ago. You can go see it. He literally says what I just said. So Muhammad Hijab is teaching a view of Tawheed that you think is not Tawheed, yet you go and work for the Sapiens Institute. So are you just being inconsistent here?
Wallahi, you're finished.
He said, can you read it? Because all this guy is doing is looking for popularity. He don't care about nothing. So he go work for Muhammad Hijab because Muhammad Hijab can get him the popularity that he wants. You know, he left here, he go to London, he went to Speaker's Corner because he believed that talking to Atuntash and Bob the Builder and being on these Dawa videos and these, what they call it, soca videos will make him popular. Like, who is this guy? You know, you see where Ijaz Ahmed did the same thing, where he lived all the way from Trinidad and end up in London, and then later make a fool of himself with his dirty behavior. You know, this is what these Muslims do. It's about popularity. How much view can you get on YouTube? It is not about truth. They don't care about truth. It's how much view can you get on YouTube? Can I get a certain amount of view on YouTube? Can I get a certain amount of subscriber? That's all they care about. You know, they don't care. They put on a show to entice people, and that's what they do. You know, put me in the spotlight. Let me be seen on Mohammed's Hijab's channel. Let me be seen on certain people's channel. Let me be seen on EF Dawa and other channel, because I'm a clown and I need to be seen. I need to make myself popular. But what they say make totally no sense.
Wallahi, you're finished. Don't ever come out. Any retraction you do now, switch off your social media. I don't want to see your face. I don't want to hear your voice. Wallahi.
Yeah, I can read it. Quote.
Go ahead, read it. Go ahead.
The will of God, since it's an attribute of the necessary existence, it must also be what? Necessary. Every decision choice that God has made could not have been any other way. Since his wisdom and knowledge is perfect, you couldn't conceive that the results be any other way. It's the best possible choice that could be made. It's necessary. Any choice that God has made, it's impossible to conceive that it could have been any other way. You just said this position is against Tawheed. You work for someone, your Ustad Muhammad Hijab, who preaches
He's
this
not my
on YouTube.
Ustad. He's not my
Yeah, well,
Ustad.
you work for him. So I think you're being utterly inconsistent about everything.
You're saying he's my employer and I work for him and he's my Ustad? Where did I say that?
Of course, you teach for someone who preaches this necessary.
Where did I ever say that?
That you condemn.
Where did I ever say that?
Does it go against Tawheed to believe
Yes,
what I
it does.
That's my position. Is that compatible with Tawheed or incompatible?
I take Asadistani's position in his refutation of it. So far as I understand you, your position is not in agreement with Tawheed.
You just said it's not in line with.
So Muhammad Hijab's position is not in agreement with Tawheed. This is good work from Seeking Truth. Wow, man, this is good work right here. So do you see the division? Like Jake using metaphysics and philosophy to destroy Muhammad Hijab. So now he's saying that Muhammad Hijab teaching is not in line with Islam, is not in line with Tawheed. Wow. And who is this guy? Like, you know, who if Muhammad Hijab get hold of him and he rip him apart and call him an ultra crepidarian. And what's the other word he like to use? Charlatan. Academic charlatan. You're gonna say Muhammad Hijab is not Tawheed.
Oh no, brother, you are wrong, because ultra crepidarian and that's all reserved for Yasikadi.
Have you not heard what his name, Muhammad Hijab, using the word ultra crepidarian when he was talking about what's a lady called Urshi, the lady Urshi who leave Islam and is speaking out against Islam. Muhammad Hijab called her a charlatan, a ultra crepidarian, all these names he was calling her. So I'm sure he would use the same name for Jake, because Jake is opposing what Jake is opposing what he says, because this is Jake. Jake is about himself. Jake is about his knowledge. Jake is not about Islam. You know, he really doesn't care too much about Islam, because if you're gonna say that everything what God do is not necessary, what God does is not necessary, can you imagine saying that what God does? You claim that Allah is God, but you are saying that what God does is not necessary. How does that make any sense, to think that what God does is not necessary? Jake is an idiot, man. I'm telling you, these people are just idiots. Like, why would you allow your mind to get to a point where you are actually opposing your own God, that what your God do is not necessary? So if your God when your God punishes a sinner, when your God allow Muhammad to kill Jews and Arabs, all this stuff that Muhammad do, it wasn't necessary. No, we look at some of the things that Muhammad did. Just look at some of the things that Muhammad did, where Muhammad actually went on rampages and went on excursion and expeditions to destroy whole communities, and in these communities, Muhammad allowed his men to have sex with women, capture women, have sex with them in the presence of their husband while their husband was still alive. Muhammad I told that when the men asked about ejaculating in the women and sex and having kids and babies and stuff like that, Muhammad says all that Allah ordained to live, to come into existence, will come into existence. There's no necessity for them to not treat the women the way they treat the women. And Jake is saying that that was unnecessary. Literally, he's saying that was unnecessary. When Muhammad conquer Khaybar and the evil that he did to the people, that was unnecessary. It's like, oh, it wasn't necessary to that. It could have been done a different way because it wasn't necessary. Do you see that this guy is actually showing us that Islam is nothing but fraud? Because if his belief of Islam is senseless to the point where you can see that, hey, who would follow that way of belief? That God do things that are unnecessary. So making the sun, creating the sun is unnecessary. Creating the moon is unnecessary. Creating, light is unnecessary. Creating water is unnecessary. This guy is an idiot, because the doctor is not telling him that, hey, what Allah create, quote unquote, because Allah create nothing, he's not a God. Allah of the Quran is a nobody, an invention. But the guy is not saying that what Allah create, he is relying on his creation. He's relying on his creation. He is dependent on his creation. He's not saying that. But he's saying that is the action of Allah is necessary action. All his actions are necessary action. But because this guy is so deep down into this philosophy, stupidity of this philosophy, he can't even see what this man is saying to him, that God doesn't do unnecessary things. All the things that he do is necessary. The guy said, no, it's not necessary. That means Allah do unnecessary things that are not, he shouldn't have done. And who does things that they shouldn't have done? A sinner. A creature. A creature is the only being that do things that they should have never done. Like murder. We should never murder. That's why the Most High says, thou shalt not murder. Rape. Covet your neighbor's wife. Lust. Thief. Theft. Those are things that are unnecessary. We shouldn't have done these things. But you cooking a pot of food and eat a plate of food doesn't mean that it's not mean that unnecessary for you to make that to cook that food. It's necessary for you to cook because you need to eat. And it's necessary. God give us necessary provisions, food, clothing, and shelter. But he's saying that what God do is unnecessary. Wow, what a beautiful Muslim. This is where Islam gone to. That these are people known in the Islamic circle, but yet still he's saying that Allah did things that are unnecessary. That means Allah is not a creator. Allah is not the creator. Allah is a creation. I do things that are unnecessary. You do things that are unnecessary. The other person do things that are unnecessary. That's how we live, because we are human beings. And this is why Christ, who does everything necessary, came into our life to stop us from doing and to help us to get rid of the things that we do unnecessarily. the unnecessary things that cause us to die. That's why he came into our life, into our world. You know, he's always in our life, but that's why he came into our world as one of us to get rid of these unnecessary things that we cause upon ourselves. It is necessary that he came into our life, because if he didn't come into our life, we would have died from our sin. And this is why we know that Islam is nothing but a fraudulent religion. Because have you ever heard a Christian saying that what God did is unnecessary? No. You will hear it from a Muslim mouth that what is God do is unnecessary, because Islam creates idiots, and these are dawa donkeys. You know, if we were talking about regular Muslim talking like that, then you say, but this is a dawa donkey. The dawa donkey talking like that, then you know that this is crazy. This is a dawa donkey talking like that. What Islam do, what Allah do is unnecessary. Wow, what a beautiful Muslim. He needs Jesus.
Tawheed.
Oh, you're claiming that he's my ustad. How is he my ustad?
It doesn't matter. You work with his
What is
institute.
that?
It is
so
because you're making false statements.
Keep coming up on my screen.
I'm doing this live stream mainly to help announce and promote a new course that I developed for Sapiens Institute. So I work with Sapiens Institute as a mentor on the Lighthouse program, which is also something I'm briefly going to discuss. And also I'm an instructor with Sapiens Institute, so I've produced 2 courses.
You're a hypocrite. You, miss, are a hypocrite. Okay.
He's an instructor. He boasted about using Sapien Institute because I'm subscribed to this brother's sister's channel. He or she is doing wonderful work, man. Because this is I've been following this brother, our sister, and I see where his videos are very small and they get to the point. You know, I want to make videos like this, but I need to manage to get to the point where I could produce this kind of video. Like, you know, I don't know anything about making videos. You know, I'm not computer savvy at all. You know, but I know there's software out here that you could make video. You know, I really think I'm gonna spend some money in doing these kind of things, you know, to learn how to do these kind of stuff. But he makes good video, and I like his videos that he make. It's he really is revealing these donkeys out here. He totally revealed this donkey.
You can record me and you could put it on your little YouTube channel or whatever you want to do.
Or we cannot understand the kayfiyah. We don't have enough knowledge on it. We stick to the text and what it says, and we don't dwell on the kayfiyah.
Do you see what he's saying? When we cannot understand the kayfiyah, I don't really know what the word kayfiyah mean. Maybe my sister know what the word kayfiyah mean. I don't. But he said when we can understand, we stick to the text. But when he come to Christianity, that's not what he decided to do. He decided to use metaphysics and philosophy to think to undo something that he cannot understand, like the Trinity. You cannot fully understand the Trinity, but what he decided to do, he don't stick to the text as he says. So let's go back and listen to this donkey, and you will see that this donkey don't follow his own teaching. Oh, I'm teaching at the Sapien Institute, but this donkey won't follow his own teaching. So he can teach you, but he won't follow his own teaching.
You can record me and you could put it on your little YouTube channel or whatever you want to do.
Or we cannot understand the kayfiyah. We don't have enough knowledge on it. We stick to the text and what it says, and we don't dwell on the kayfiyah.
So if you can understand it, you stick to the text and you don't dwell on it. But he cannot understand the Trinity but he don't stick to the Trinitarian the text of the Bible. What he do, he decided to use man-made philosophy and metaphysics to think, to undo something that he fully don't understand. So you see, according to him, he's not handling Islamic text the same way he handle Christian text. He don't. He's not.
Okay, thank you. Just like we can't understand the kayfiyah of Trinity. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Wow. Who is this? I need to look up this guy. Andani. Dr. Khalil Andani. I need to see who this guy is, man. I need to really look. That was the most powerful answer I've ever heard. He said, just like you cannot understand the kayfiyah of the Trinity. And that's the key thing. No Christian should be going out here, and this is how you expose Jake. Seeking Truth is doing a good job, and Dr. Khalil Andani, I don't know if he's a Christian, I don't know who he is. You know, but if he's a Muslim destroying this idiot like this, and somebody need to tell Jake to take off that hat, that whatever the thing is, because it doesn't look good on him. Man. Wow.
Okay, so we're moving on to the 10 minutes.
Look at him. Do you see how he laughed? He knows that got him. What is
the 10 minutes? Moving on to the 10 minutes.
Hola, I want to catch him.
Oh, we're moving on to the 10 minutes.
Oh, man, I can't catch him, man. Too fast.
We're moving on to the 10 minutes.
Oh. I want to catch him, but you can't catch him, man.
So we're moving on to the 10 minutes.
You know you got school there. You cannot understand something from the Islamic text and you move on. You move on. But when you cannot understand the Trinity, what the donkey decided to do, go get man-made philosophy and stuff like that and think to undo the Trinity. What an idiot. What an idiot. The guy already told him to stop debating Christian. Stop debating Christian and the Trinity. Because there are things that he himself is confessing that he cannot understand. Okay.
Scott, really
yeah, let him answer the question.
You can have 20 seconds, Jake, if you'd like.
Explain it again. What's the meaning of nuzul that everybody knows?
Yeah, so I explained it, and Ibn Taymiyyah, which you said that I couldn't appeal to, which I don't know why. All I told you was I don't agree with him on every single position, and that's certainly fine. But when it comes to the usul, I agree with him. And the fact of the matter is, he explains this. He talks even about the spirit coming down and the angels and this type of so-called movement, which we cannot really understand. And he compares that to the nuzul or descent of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he says the difference in that is exponentially greater. Therefore, we cannot understand the kayfiyah. We don't have enough knowledge on it. We stick to the...
Wow. Wow. So there is so much things about Allah that you cannot understand. You cannot understand. And he said he don't agree with everything with Ibn Taymiyyah, but he's using that Ibn Taymiyyah as his citation for his belief in this case. And we are seeing that Ibn Taymiyyah is talking about these things that is happening, and that your understanding cannot grasp it. Your understanding cannot grasp it. So what you do?
The text and what it says, and we don't dwell on the kayfiyah.
You stick to the text and what it said, and you don't dwell on the kayfiyah. So you don't dwell on the mystery. and the things that you cannot understand. I think that's what kafia possibly means. But when it comes to the Trinity, he must dwell on the kafia, because this is the double standard of this deceptive wolf.
Okay, thank you. Just like we can't understand the kafia of Trinity. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we're moving on to the 10-minute.
Wow, man. This guy, I'm telling you, man, that's Islam for you, man. Islam for you. Islam for you. And I want to say, man, seeking truth, man, I lift my hat off to you, man, for gathering these videos together, because we need to have them in our entourage, because we're going to come across donkeys like these, and how do we deal with them? As I say, I've already done a video on him before, and where his brothers were exposing him, and we see now that other people are exposing him for the stupid that he is, as a Christian prince will say, for the stupid he is. So I want to say, man, I want to end this video here, and I want to say our praises and honor to the triune God, the God who is above God, all gods, the God who gives us wisdom to decipher things and to make sense of sensible things, and to make nonsense of things that are nonsense. And Islam is nothing but nonsense, total nonsense, as we see, as we watch these videos, and as we look at the Muslim. If you look at the first part of the video, you will see where I reveal a Muslim and his stupidity, that where Paul says Christ is the end of the law. The idiot believed that Paul was saying that there is no more law with Christ. And we see where Paul mentioned the law of Christ several places in his writing. Paul mentioned that there is the law of Christ. And also when we go to Romans 3 verse 31, Paul says, do we then make void the law through faith? He said, God forbid, yea, we establish the law. So when he said Christ is the end of the law, we must look at the word end. What does the word, what could he mean? If he said that we establish the law, what could he mean when he's using the word end? What could he mean when he's using the word end? End mean final part of something. That's the definition of end. So let's just show this definition real fast so that people could see that we are not speaking like idiots. We speak from things that we look up and research. So you look at the word end, you see it on the screen here, the word end. So if you see the word end there, what does it say? A final part of something, especially a period of time, an activity, or a story. The conclusion. So conclusion can mean two different things. Termination is different, and the resolution, see this? The climax. See these words? So you could look at the word climax and mean that Christ is the climax. Christ is that's where it is. The highest level. The highest level. That's where it is. And when you look at the word resolution, you look at the word conclusion. Conclusion doesn't mean that when you use the word conclusion, it doesn't mean that something have to end all the time. Even though this is when you say the story concluded, like you're watching a movie and the movie conclude, that means the movie end. But when you say let us come to the conclusion of the matter, like for example in a courthouse, when you say let us come to the conclusion of the matter, what do you mean? Let us come to the final resolution, the climax. So Christ is the climax. And notice what it says here: the furthest or most extreme part or point of something. That's what that's what Paul meant. Come or bring to final point. Do you see the last one down at the bottom here? come or bring to a final point. A final point. So the finality. You could bring something to the final point, but it is not really finished, really. You could bring something to the final point. That means it cannot go beyond that. It cannot go beyond that. It's like building a house. If you're building a house, in Jamaica, when people are building houses, some people are poorer and they don't just build their house and go continue their house. They don't continue straight and build a house, and within here or 6, 7, 8 months, the house is finished. No. What they do, they build the house, little here, little there, little, and then finally the house reach to its final how they want the house when the totality is done. So a final part can be the total of something, and that's what Paul was saying, that Christ is the final part. So let's say all praises to the triune God, the God who is above all gods, the God who gives us wisdom to decipher things and to make sense of sensible things and to make nonsense of things that are nonsense. And Islam is nothing but nonsense. Anything that make you take away your ability to reason is nonsense. Anything at all that take away your ability to reason is totally nonsense. And this is what Islam do to people. Islam take away the ability. Oh, sorry, my sister. Islam take away your ability to reason. That's what Islam does.
Yes, it does, brother. My StreamYard messed up. Sorry.
And that's okay. That's okay.
It was hilarious before, brother, when he said, depends if it's dead or alive.
Yes. And that's stupid. That is so stupid. Depends that if they're dead or alive. That is so stupid. And look at the brother say here. I think it's a brother. Yeah, he says, Islam and double standard are twins. That is so truthful, man. That is so truthful.
He's right. He's
Yes.
right, brother.
He
And
is
and
right.
you know where is the problem? Because you will never find single place in Quran where it's mentioned the word tawhid.
Yes,
I
heard
was
about that.
I was in a Dawa channel, and I asked moderator and host there. They should show me the word tawhid, and I asked them how many times they pray. and they said 5, and I showed them. I told them, then okay, then show me the place in Quran when it says 5 times, and they throw me out of chat. They block me.
They always do. When they can't answer what they get aggressive at you and block you. They say maybe the Muslim meta whatever is being a useful idiot to smoke out all of the fake Muslim, including himself, to show the Muslims that Islam is not worth it. I agree. I totally agree. The way these people reason, you just could see. Okay, you said you send me a link on how to make a mod.
I did that. I don't know, last week or something. In the comments, I answer you and tag your name, and I send you a link.
Okay, I'll
not
look it up.
today. Not today. That doesn't matter. I will put you under this video so you can see.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you know, that is really double standard, because they do that to bring the confusion and really to, for example, for new believer or for people who don't know much about Christianity, so they can bring a lot of confusion with such a discussion, you know.
Yeah.
And this is a double standard anyway, because they want always to see the place where it says with that word Trinity, for example, and you will never find in whole Quran the word Tawhid. When you ask them, they say all Quran is a Tawhid, because they can show you the place.
I know, and the crazy thing, they will ask you to show us where Jesus say he is God, and they can show you in the Quran where Isa say, I am Messiah.
They can't what? They can't what? Sorry?
They will ask you to show us in the Bible where Jesus say he is God, and then they cannot show you in the Quran where Isa himself say, I am the Messiah.
Yes, it is the same with this famous words when they say, and the Jews say, we killed the Messiah, son of Mary, but they kill him not. It appears to them so.
Right.
First, this was, if I remember right, because I have that in my memory.
Surah 4, verse 157. Yeah.
Yes, but this surah is for the Jews only. They don't read that. This is the first one. And second one, not a single Jew on earth would say Jesus is the Messiah. And the third point is Jews didn't kill him anyway. The Roman did that. So, you know, and the fourth point is, this verse is abrogated anyway with the Surah 9:5.
Surah 9:5.
Yeah, but Surah al-Tawbah is, this verse is abrogated, and the fifth, yes, and the fifth, yeah. This is the Surah al-Tawbah.
No, I thought it. I know what you're talking about. You actually talking about that verse. No, you're talking about the verse that says if you kill a single.
Yes, this also, yeah, single soul, but this also so many. Yeah. So this also every single peaceful verse is abrogated with this Surah 9:5.
Yeah.
Every single, but they don't say that.
Yeah.
And this was with Jesus is not right anyway, because as I explained that no Jew would say that, and even in Quran Surah 19:33, Jesus said, "Blessed be the day I was born, die and rise again." Jesus himself said that. So it's not true anyway, you know?
There's actually a verse in the Quran that actually says,
Allah caused him to die, mutawafika. Yes, there is one.
Not only that, but there's a verse in the Quran that actually says that all that they worship are dead. That says whatever they worship are dead. There's a Quran. I can't remember what verse it is.
That's new. That's new. I don't know that.
Yeah, let me find it. Let me see if I could find it. Whatever they worship are dead. Let me see if I could find it.
I never hear that verse.
Yeah, there's a verse that I found it some time ago.
But yes, that what I meant is this verse, Surah Al-Kafirun. This, if you kill one soul, yeah. This verse with the Jesus is connected with 1933. Yeah.
I think it's Surah 16. Let me see if I can find it. I think it's Surah 16. Surah 16 verse. Let me see. Yeah, there is a verse. Surah 16 verse 121. No, 21.
What do you try to find, brother?
The one that says those they worship are dead, and this is why just to show you the nonsense of Islam, that's the Quran actually saying whatever they worship are dead, something like that. I think it's Surah 16 verse 21. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, okay, here it is. They are dead, not alive, and they do not perceive. No, let me see. This might not be it. Let me see. Let me make sure that's what they're talking about. It's talking about, but there's a verse in the Quran that actually says whatever they worship are dead. I don't
comprehend what they want to say with that verse.
it actually showing that the Quran is full of contradiction, because the Quran is saying whatever human worship apart from Allah is dead. But according to the Quran, Isa is not dead. So the Quran is saying, I just can't find the verse that actually says whatever, and that's why you have a group of Muslim that I can't remember what they call them, the Amestidia something. I can't remember what they call them. I don't want to make up the story, but there's a group of Muslims who actually believe that Jesus was killed, was crucified, and the reason they believe that is because of these verses that actually says whatever they worship, that whatever mankind worship apart from Allah, they are dead. What they worship is dead. So the people are saying that if this is actually talking about how could Isa be alive if the Quran is saying whatever they worship as God apart from Allah is dead?
But it is contradiction anyway, as I told you, because Jews wouldn't say that he is the Messiah, and they didn't kill him anyway. So this verse,
so there's a lot of contradiction. This verse, including here it is. I think this is it. And those whom they call beside Allah created nothing, created not anything, but they are themselves created. They are dead, not living. They know not when they will be raised. And that is Surah 16, verse 21 to 22. So you see what he says. Those who on whom they call beside Allah created not anything. And this is also another contradiction, because he's saying that those who they call on beside Allah created not anything, but the Quran is saying that Isa said to the people, I will create for you a bird. So you see the contradiction all over. The Quran is just a foolish book. And
he created a bird and breathed into it and give a life. So right. Jesus is the creator. Jesus is the creator.
Yeah, you see, if you look at the Quran and think about the Quran, you will see that it's a foolish person who wrote the Quran. You know, they were thinking that they were wise when they were writing it, and they have little knowledge of poetry, and they were writing this book, but they were foolish people, because at the end of the day, you have a verse that where Isa is saying, I will create for you a bird by the permission of Allah. So even if Allah permit you to create something, he didn't say that Allah is the one who created. He says that Isa create the bird. He said, I will create the bird. And then this verse is saying that those on whom they call beside Allah create not anything. And if Allah wanted people to know that he's the only creator, why was Isa creating a bird? You know, why was he creating a bird, actually creating a bird the same way Adam is created from clay, blow into it the breath of life, and it flew away.
Means Jesus is creator, means Jesus is Allah if he created on the same way.
And this is what you know, that the author of the Quran is hiding something. Whoever write the Quran, the author of the Quran is hiding something. And then in the in the same surah 16 verse 22, it says they are dead. So the people, whoever you worship beside Allah, are dead, not living. And this is the crazy thing, that to say that Isa, when the Muslims are saying that Isa is not dead, he was taken by Allah and he's coming back. You see, the verse says they are dead, not living, and they know not when they will be raised. You know, so you see that the Quran, whoever wrote the Quran wasn't thinking. And there is a point when they overdo things, and that's why Muhammad was constantly abrogating, constantly changing, because he was trying to perfect the Quran, but the Jewish woman killed him before he could perfect the Quran. They claim that the Quran was finished, but no. If Muhammad was alive longer, he would have continued to write until, you know, but the woman killed him to at the point where God want him, the real God want him out of the way, so that wise people could see that this book is written by a man. Because when you look at this verse, he's saying that these verses, 2 verses from Surah 16, 21 to 22, and those on whom they call beside Allah created not anything. We see that contradiction that Isa said, I will create for you a bird. So why, if Allah want people to see that the people that we worship create anything, why is it in the Quran Isa creating a bird? But they are themselves created. A created being cannot create anything. They can procreate, but they cannot create anything. And Isa is the only being that create life. Only being. And why is this? Because Islam is a lie. Islam is hiding something. The next thing you see in the verse, they are dead. So the people, the things that you worship are the people you worship other than Allah, are the God you worship other than Allah. They are dead, not living. So how is these idiotic Muslims telling us that Isa is alive and Isa is coming back? They know not when they will be raised. You know, that's what the Quran is saying. And this is why you know that the Quran is nothing but a dumb book written by a dumb person or dumb persons. Because I do believe that the Quran have multiple authors, and this is why the Quran flows the way the Quran flows. Because you will see that you ever heard the saying, too many cooks spoil the broth. You ever heard that?
I know that. Yeah, I know that.
Too many cooks spoil the broth. And you will see how choppy the Quran is. Choppy all over the place. It's not like the Bible where you're reading about something and you continue to read until you see the conclusion of the matter. No, the Quran chop up all over the place. Surah Al-Miriam, he's not talking about totally about Miriam. It's all about all kind of different stories and all this stuff, and just jump all over the place. And you'll be like, when did I get to this point? When did I arrive at here? Why is it all of a sudden it switched to this? And you will see. Oh,
you know that's why because Muhammad, sorry brother, because Muhammad doesn't remember in the evening what he said in the morning. So he was just saying that.
And that's true. And that's true because Muhammad was forgetting the Quran. We see that in the Hadith where Muhammad forget the Quran and said, this man was reading the Quran in the mosque, and Muhammad said something similar to this, that Allah bless this man because he has bring to my remembrance such and such surah from such and such verses, ayah from such and such surah, yes, which he was caused to forget.
He did not. He said, what was the quote? He said, Allah will give you similar or better words.
Oh yes.
He will cause you to forget and give you similar
and give you
better.
A similar better. When he forgets something, he writes something.
You know, brother. Yes, you know, brother's father Zakaria Butros.
Oh yes.
He said the Quran was written by a drunken man.
I believe that. If you listen to that stupid book, man, it's written by an idiot. Look at this. Look at this. What the Bukhari 61 says. Allah apostle heard a man reciting the Quran at night and said, "May Allah bestow His mercy on him, as he had reminded me of such and such verses of such and such surah, which I was caused to forget." Can you imagine the revealer, the one who get the revelation, is forgetting the Quran? What a beautiful Muhammad.
Oh, brother, you forgot. He get the revelation from Jibril in Cave Hira, and Jibril had 600 wings.
Wings.
Yeah, I mean, and Jibril with his 600 wings, how he fit in Muhammad's bedroom or in a tent.
Hey, listen to this now. Listen to this now, my sister. Listen to this. This is how stupid that I am. When Muhammad saw Jibril, Muhammad run home to his wife and said, "Cover me, cover me, cover me, cover me." But he had time to count Jibril wing.
Oh, that's not everything. So she covered him, and then she proved him that he is a prophet.
Prophet. Yeah, when he believed that he was crazy, she said, "No, you're not crazy. You're a prophet."
Sit on my right lap, sit on my left lap. Yeah, I mean, how small was he if he can sit on lap of a woman?
Yes. He was
That's the point.
He was a dwarf. Come over here, baby. Sit on my lap.
I mean, brother, that's a pure comedy. You have to admit.
But the funny thing about it, he was terrified of this creature, and then he could count that his 600 wing is on the creature, and then to count to 600, to count 600 wing on something, is if you're looking at anything at all, and you're trying to count. You know, how did it take him like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and counting all the way to 300 wings, and then count 300 more. This is how you know that Islam is nothing but stupidity and a made-up fraud. Made-up fraud. Total made-up fraud.
Oh, we forgot Jibril was afraid from a dog. So he didn't come to Muhammad. He was so sad.
Jibril was a liar, man. Jibril afraid of a dog. Jibril afraid of a dog, and isn't that something special? That Jibril afraid of a dog. Jibril will not come to you because he's scared of a dog. Wow. So if Muhammad was dying in his house and Jibril was supposed to save Muhammad, he would never be saved because there's a dog in the house. Jibril is a liar. Whoever Jibril is a liar.
Oh, we know Jibril is Dahi al-Kalbi. You know who is that good-looking man who took first Safiya, you know, and then he took Safiya back, but he buy her for a few other slaves.
Yes.
So this was Dahi al-Kalbi.
Yes. When Muhammad introduced them to Jibril, Muhammad introduced them to the good-looking companion. And they were like, he looked like Jibril, is like, they thought
he looks like Dahi al-Kalbi. Yes.
They thought Jibril was Dahi al-Kalbi. Muhammad was a con artist, a Nigerian.
Pure comedy, brother.
Yeah, Muhammad was like a Nigerian scammer. A 419. You know, I get called all the time from Nigerian scammers talking about my car insurance and my car warranty. And when I ask them the name of the person on the car, they can't tell you the name of the person on the car, but they know so much that you have, what kind of car you drive. And I'm like, what's the name on the car that you're looking for? They say, aren't you the one who with the Nissan Altima? But I'm asking you, what's the name? You drive a Nissan Altima doesn't mean that you know the name of the.
This is a pure comedy anyway. I mean, he contradicts himself every single day, and because he didn't remember what he was saying, he said, and it's abrogated, or he said it has a 7 ahruf, so 7 dialect.
There's a new video from Panda Film that people need to go watch with with what's his name? What's his name, man? Oh my God, the guy from Panda Film. I can't believe I forget his name.
Jay Smith.
Jay Smith have a new video with Shibir Ali, featuring Shibir Ali, very damaging to Islam. It is like as damaging as when Yashir Qadi said there is old in the narrative. These people are showing you that the Quran is not preserved, and the manuscript, you heard about that manuscript that they found that fall from the mosque, the roof of the mosque. When they look at the manuscript, when they were looking at the manuscript, they see that the manuscript was right over. That somebody right over. There was an old writing on the bottom, and then there's a newer writing on the top of that writing.
Because that animal skin was reused. They would wash away and then rewritten another time above it, you know?
Yes. And both of the writing are actually Quranic writing. So Shibir Ali is giving his idea, and I'm actually going to make a video on this Monday. Shibir Ali is giving his idea on what what caused this. And you will see where Shibir Ali actually threw the Quran under the bus, that it was not preserved. The Quran is not perfectly preserved. But then Shibir Ali gonna say something like, where these people get this idea that the Quran is preserved word for word, that for that, and he said that. But Shibir Ali used to be one of those people who teach that kind of stuff back in the days. He used to teach that kind of stuff. But as time goes by, just like Muhammad abrogate what he see that was stupid, or what he forgets. These people have to start abrogating their speech. They have to start changing their speech.
Yes, they do. And you know what else they do? So there are many very damaging hadiths, for example, in Islamic literature and in scriptures. So they just delete online.
Yes.
Many hadiths, they are damaging, you know?
Yeah. It is crazy. Like, if you really look into the old Islamic preservation of the Quran and all this stuff, only a fool would say the Quran is preserved. Only a fool would say that. A person who's trying to deceive people, only a fool would say that. Okay.
But they can still deceive enough people, you know? That's the point. Even we have internet and you have access to everything. Still, they can deceive people who are weak in faith, or who are just in dark moment in their life. So they made it still, you know?
Yes. So at the end of the day, man, I tend to want to make more video on tackling the Islamic idea of the Trinity, the Islamic the way the view of the Bible and the Islamic lies. That's just want to expose those kind of stupidity of Islam. That's how I feel that you make more sense doing this kind of stuff, and what you are seeing.
I think it's a good idea, brother.
I agree, man. I agree. What you're seeing more now is the Muslims and their twisting of the Bible. Like, they're twisting of the Bible. That's what you see a lot of nowadays. And every video that I make, I feel I have an obligation to show one of their twisting of the Bible. You see where the Muslim says, like today when I showed a part of the Muslim saying that Paul said Jesus is the end of the law and all this stuff. They don't understand what Paul is saying, and that's why Peter. If you notice what Peter wrote about Paul, and that is such a beautiful thing that we have these things. What Peter say about Paul, because the Holy Spirit know these days were coming when fools would think to twist what Paul says and you know, try to sell what he say as something other than what he's saying, because you know, it's hard to see that Paul is telling you in Romans 3 verse 31 that we don't make void the law, we establish the law. But then these Abduls will tell you that Paul was telling you that the law ended and there is no more law. That's what Paul was telling you. Paul was actually talking about Jesus is the finality of the law, and Jesus now we are under Jesus's the fullness of the law that Jesus brought about, and not under the old Moses law. We are not under that law. We are now under, because notice what Paul says, to those who are without law, as without law, though not being without the law of God, but under the law of Christ. So we are now under the law of Christ. We are people who are under the law of Christ. We are people who are governed by the law of Christ, not the old law of Moses. We are governed by the fulfilled law, and the fulfilled law is the complete law, the end, the law that is at the when he said the end of the law, he means the finality of the law, the furthest, the most extreme, the climax of the law. So
yes,
and this is why Muhammad, we know that Muhammad is a fraud, because Christ is the climax of the law. So there is no, you can't add nothing to the law unless it is coming from Christ. You can't take away nothing from the law unless it is coming from Christ, because Christ says, I will send you prophets and seers, and some of them you will kill and some of them you will chase from town to town. So these are the people who Christ sent that can tell you what Christ intended for you to know. Because Christ said to his disciple, I have so much things to say to you, but I cannot say them now. But when the Spirit of truth comes, then he will lead you into our truth. So we know that there were more things that that Christ wanted to say. And who does he say them to? He said them to the apostles, including Paul. He said them to the apostle, including Paul. So any changes or any climax, whatever climax was left for the law to reach, he said it to the apostle, the disciples, and he said it to Paul. And this is why you have Peter endorsing Paul and telling us that he writes the same way in all his letters, speaking in them of matters. His letter contains some things that are hard to understand, which ignorant and unstable people distort as they do the other scripture to their own destruction. And notice what Peter says about Paul: bear in mind that our Lord's patience means salvation, just as our dear brother Paul also wrote you with the wisdom that God gave to him. So the wisdom that God gave him. We see the endorsement of Peter showing that Paul is sent by God, and he's endorsing Paul being sent by God. And he's telling you that the people who twist what Paul says are ignorant and unstable people. And we know that a Muslim is an ignorant, unstable person. That's what they are.
Yeah.
This is.
Yeah, brother, but even their sources say that Allah sent Bulos, that is Paul, as a strength, as a third, to go and preach. So
yeah, I'll show you.
That's the problem. That's the problem, you know. They have a problem, because if they admit that Paul is right, then where is the point in saying that Muhammad is the last prophet and final prophet? That's the point.
Muhammad is a liar.
Yeah.
And even look, Al-Qutubi proved that Muhammad is a liar. And why Al-Qutubi proved that Muhammad is a liar? Because Muhammad say he is the closest prophet between him and Isa. Jesus is the closest prophet. And Al-Qutubi, a Muslim says, it was said, he was commenting on Surah 61 verse 14, and he said it was said that this verse was revealed about the apostles of Jesus. And notice what he says. Notice what he says. Jesus sent Ibn Ishaq stated of the apostles and disciples that Jesus sent to preach, there were Peter and Paul, who went to Rome. So here it is, a Muslim is telling you that between Jesus, there is Peter and Paul, but Muhammad is saying that he's the closest prophet between Peter, between Jesus, when we know that Paul was a prophet. If Jesus sent Paul, we know that Paul was also a prophet, you know. And I've seen a Muslim, Asana Batitata, using Paul's prophecy to actually say that Paul is talking about Islam, which he failed miserably, but he is using Paul's word to say that Paul is talking about Islam. But not only that, you were talking, I know you make this this thing, you say something, and it's Ibn Kathir who said it. When we send them two messengers, they deny them both, means they hasten to disbelieve in them. So we reinforce them with a third, means we support and strengthen them with a third messenger. See this? Messenger. So Muhammad is saying that he's the only messenger between Isa. He's the only messenger after Isa. Then you know he's a liar, because Ibn Kathir is showing that Muhammad is a liar. He don't believe in Muhammad. And Ibn Jurayj, I can narrated from Wab bin Suleiman from Shaub al-Jabay. The name of the first two messenger was Sham Hun Jana. I mean, that got to be John. And the name of the third was Bolos. And the city was Antioch. You know, Paul was the one sent to the city in Antioch. And Johanna is John. So Paul and John. And Bulos is Paul. So you see, at the end of the day, they don't even believe their own prophet, because they know that Muhammad was an idiot.
Thank you, brother. That's the verse I meant. That's the verse I meant. And you have in Quran, I think it is in Quran, a verse who prove 100% that Muhammad is a false prophet and antichrist, because it says Allah, if someone preach contradictory to Allah's word, or say something that he doesn't say, Allah would reach to him and cut his artery. and when Muhammad died, he said was dying. He said to Aisha, he feels like his artery was cut off. You know.
Satan used Muhammad and allow him to die like a false prophet after he finished using. So anyway, my sister, I want to say peace out, man, and thank you for coming on, and you're welcome anytime. And I will
thank
look
you
at
for
the
good
link.
laugh.
I will look at the link that you send, and I will follow the instruction. And thank you guys for coming out and listening to me, or else I will be talking to myself. But even if I was talking to myself, I would still continue, because, you know, as I say, if one person watched the video, it's important. You know, if two people watch the video, it's still important. But God bless you all, man. And I thank you for spending your time with me. You know, man, I pray that God, is working in your life. I pray that your life is in line with the words of the Messiah, and that when we go out here, we represent the Messiah first, and then we also represent our loved ones, and your wives. Men, you need to represent your wives, and women, you need to represent your husbands if you have one. If you don't, then that's you represent Christ. This is the way we need to live. No infidelity, no craziness, none all that stuff. And one thing that we need to do is to establish giving to the poor, and helping the needy. That's very important. We see the work of the Messiah feeding the hungry, healing the blind. There's a way we can do healing in certain ways. A person could be down, because their home doesn't have food and stuff like that, where you could do healing by giving to that home. And even if you cannot heal the person physically, you can heal a person mentally by being a friend to that person, by being caring to that person, and show that person that that person is a human being. That's how you can bring about some healing in people's life. And so there's a private chat that I didn't even look into. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I've never looked into this private. I'm telling you, man. I don't know
That
much
was
about this
that was
stuff.
only me, brother. That was only me.
I'll tell you, I've never looked into this. I just saw the number came up, and I've never looked. This is my first time ever looked into this private thing. I'll tell you.
Thank you,
Anyway,
brother. Thank you, brother, for good laugh and for all you do.
yeah,
Thank you,
yeah.
and God bless you and your family, brother.
God bless you too, my sister. God bless you. God bless you. And God bless everyone, man. And our blessing can be blessing to other people. So spread the love, man. It's a hard time. This is America, and we know that cost of living is going up in America. So I expect that cost of living is high in some of these third world countries. That's what they call them anyway. But I have a mission that I'm really about to kick off, where I adopt a couple family from some places in Africa and help them as much as I can help them. I will let you guys know how that is going. I'm not telling you because I am doing it, because if it was me alone, I wouldn't do anything. It's Christ who is doing it, and that's why I'm telling you about it. It is the work of Christ. If it was me alone in my way, I would be writing reggae music, on my free time. Back in the days, that's what I do. And I wouldn't care about anybody but the music and happiness and whatever. But because this is God's work, so I will tell you guys all these things are going along. And if you guys have it in your heart any way to help in these situations, you can help. And as I say, my channel is not about making money for myself. I am blessed. It's about doing Christ's work. So if anybody in any way want to help, I will give you link and how you can help, not you sending me your money. I'll give you link and how you can help by yourself. And this is trustworthy link. This is nothing fake, nothing. And I could show you how you could help. And a matter of fact, I could bring the sister on, who's the one who is linking me with these people in Africa. I could bring her on, and she could show what work she's doing as soon as we start. But we're starting next week. This week coming, we are actually starting this thing this week, because we already found 3 families that we want to help. And when I say we, is Jesus using my hand to help, because all that I own is Jesus. All that belong, in the world. All that belong to the Father. All that is in the world is belong to Jesus. So we are just taking the resources that Jesus give to us and distribute the resources in its appropriate places. So this is not about me. It's, you know, I'm a sinner and dreadful sinner. It's about Jesus. If I was to follow my own demand, my own way, I would not be talking about Jesus, talking about giving people. This is all about what Jesus is doing. He is the one giving. I'm just the hand that he is using to give. You know, so this is something we're going to focus on starting from next week. We are going to go into that and focus, put some focus on that, because sometimes we are distracted by the noise of the Muslims, and we need to show more of the love of Jesus Christ, and that's what we are going to be doing. And my sister,
brother.
Yes, we have Muslim families, not only Christians that Christ is helping, is going to use me to help. We have Muslim family included in it too. But there's a lady who have her husband divorced her for whatever reason, I don't know. They both are Muslim, and she have, I think it's 3 kids. You know, I had to look back over on the thing that I was sent. I have pictures of them, which I won't put their pictures in public affairs, because that's not how we do things. But that's in Kenya. And so we are, the lady, she worked only one day, and she wash clothes, and she can, in the area where she lives, people only wash their clothes on the weekend. So she get to wash clothes on the weekend, and because the clothes are so much to wash, she can only wash for one person. So, and she's making $5 US for washing the so her income for that week, she says sometimes she might do something other there, here and there, but her income for that whole complete week is $5. So I look at it and I said, you know, what the Most High gave to me, what I have from Christ, you know, what I'm gonna do from what I have from Christ, because he give, and he give to me abundantly, and asked me to give. So, you know, give some of what he give to me. So it is him who is giving. He gave to me, and he requests that I give to others. And you know, for years, you know, we hold on to what God gave to us to give to people. You know, we keep it for ourselves. You know, so I decided this is the time when it stopped. What Jesus gave to others, we need to give it to who he wants us to give it to. We need to find these people and give it to them. So.
Amen, brother. Can I, brother, just share just a short passage of my one of my favorite in the Bible? This is First Corinthians. This is a 1 Corinthians 13.
Let me get it. One.
This is a beautiful chapter. This is a 1 Corinthians 13. Chapter name is "Let Love Be Your Guide." This is a Paul speaking. I may speak in different. I may speak in different languages.
Let me share it. Let me share it first, and then you can.
I wait.
Yes, so that people could see it as we go along. Sorry.
No problem.
I like that. I like when we share the Bible like that.
I do that every day.
That's beautiful, my sister.
Yes.
So here we go. We are ready.
I may speak in different languages, whatever human or even of angels. But if I don't have love, I am only a noisy bell or a ringing cymbal. I may have the gift of prophecy. I may understand all secrets and know everything that is to know. And I may have faith so great that I can move a mountain. But even with all this, If I don't have love, I am nothing. I may give away everything I have to help others, and I may even give my body as an offering to be burned. But I gain nothing by doing all this if I don't have love. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous. It does not brag, and it's not proud. Love is not rude. It is not selfish, and it cannot be made angry easily. Love does not remember wrong done against it. Love is never happy when others do wrong, but it is always happy with the truth. Love never gives up on people. It never stops trusting. It never loses hope and never quits. I love that passage. Yes.
Wow, that's deep.
Yes.
Yeah, Paul, and this is the bad thing about these Muslims. If this Muslim could get to understand where Paul is coming from, Paul is coming straight from Jesus, straight what Jesus wanted us to know. When Jesus says, I have so much to say to you, but I cannot say them now. This is what Jesus wanted us to know. This deep
Amen.
love, this, but what Jesus says, he says,
brother, he was on the way in Damascus, brother. And
yes.
and he was persecuting Christian. He was on the way to arrest Christian, to defame and arrest them. And he was there when they are stoning Stephen. He was holding the garments of the people who are stoning them. It means he agreed with them.
Yes.
And still, Jesus chose him and blinded him, made him blind, because of his glory, and make him see again in all his glory. Amen.
Yes, and you see how he's demonstrating what love really is. Like, he's telling you what love really is, and Jesus demonstrates exactly what love really is. Jesus says, no greater love hath a man that he laid down his life for his friends. And you will see where Paul is saying that even if you give everything you have to the poor, even if you do all this stuff, it's still not amount to love. If you don't have real love, to the point where you would die for someone, that's not love, And what love, the kind of love that Jesus, and Jesus asks us to love each one another as he loved us. So that means we should be to the point where we will die for one another if needs be, and that's the kind of love that we see here. Giving all that we have to the poor, as doesn't amount to love. It could be amount to a show, and this is why I don't believe that I'm giving anything to nobody. I believe that it is God that is giving, because if God gives to me and tell me to give, and I give, who is giving? God is giving, not me, because he gave to me and tell me to give it to this person. So who is doing the giving? Not me. It is God that is doing the giving, because he gave to you and tell you what to do with what he gave to you. So if you do what he give to you, then who is doing the giving? God is doing the giving. Always take yourself out of the picture, because it is not you, it is Christ that live in you that is doing the work. And that's what we fail to realize, that in order to represent Christ and sell, when I say sell, I don't mean it in a negative way. Sell Christ in the true light, we need to use our life to sell Christ more than we use our mouth, because he gave to us, man. Like, this morning I came in and I was able to eat breakfast. I didn't eat lunch, but and it's 6 o'clock in the evening. But as I say, you don't have to eat 3 meals a day, and I was able to eat breakfast and all this stuff, and and I realized that there's people in the world who did not eat breakfast this morning, but yet still they could eat breakfast from what God gave me to give to them. But I keep what God gave me to give to them for myself. So I when the law came and the law come to you, you started feeling guilty. And that's what Paul says. I think it's in Romans. Is it Romans 8? Romans 8:7, something like that. When the law come to you, when the law of Christ come to you, you are alive. You feel alive without the law, because the law bring death to you, and the Muslim actually use this where Paul said the law bring death. He don't understand what Paul is saying. Without the law, without any law, there is no sin. Where there is no law, there is no breaking of the law. Like in America, if there is no law that says you can't drink and drive, if you caught drinking and driving, no one can punish you because there is no law that says you can't do that. But the moment there is a law, then guess what? You are guilty. So Paul was saying that without the law, he was alive. He was alive without the law. But then when the law came to him, he realized that he is facing death, because what? He is a sinner and he was breaking the law. So when the law came, he looked into the law like a mirror, looking at himself, and he see death on himself because of his wretched life. Is the same way when we look into Christ. Christ is the law. Christ is the end of the law, the finality of the law, the climax of the law. When we look at the life of Christ, we see death within ourselves. Because what we see within ourselves, we see death. Compared to his life, we are nothing at all. We don't live his life. His life is so much better than our life, and so much righteous than our life, that we see death within ourselves. But guess what? Because of his righteousness, we see life also. Why? Because he took our death upon himself, and all we have to do is to follow his light, follow his life, follow his way to life. So it's just beautiful how Paul explained the scripture, or he look at things. But if you look at the Muslim is saying that Paul says the law bring death. Yes, the law bring death. The law bring judgment. By you breaking the law, you can see death in your life. When you break the law of God, you see death in your life. The Messiah says, do unto others as you like them to do unto you. If you don't do that, then you face death. So when you look at the law, that law bring death to you because you are living a wretched life. So when how do you get rid of that death that is upon you? You can do it because you already break that law. So who did it for you? Who get rid of that death for you? Christ is the only one who can get rid of that death, because he through his righteousness save you from the death that you deserve, and he through his a sacrifice save you from the death that you deserve. He through his life save you from the death that you deserve. All you have to do now, is already paid for, but be faithful to him. And to be faithful to someone doesn't mean that, oh, I have faith in Jesus. No, to be faithful is to not displease that person. Like being faithful to your wife doesn't mean that to say, oh, I'm faithful to my wife, and then you go commit adultery. No, to be faithful to your wife means that you do not do any infidelity. And to be faithful to Christ is to not do any infidelity, not break his law. He told you his law. He said, love your neighbors. He told you his law. He said, love your enemies. He told you his law. Do unto others as you like them to do unto you. He told you his law. He said, give to the poor. Feed the poor. Follow his example. Feed the poor. He told you his law. To love. Love to the point where you would die for somebody. That's what his law is. So, it's beautiful when you understand the Bible. And we're gonna have some stream, my sister, you and I and whoever want to come, and we just go over some of Paul's teachings and some of the and the Bible, and instead of dealing with these Muslims sometimes.
Amen.
Yeah.
Brother, that's what you are preaching now. This is one of my favorite part in the Bible also. This is Romans 5. You should look upon.
Yes.
Romans 5 from verse 1 till 11, where it says, Christ died for us when we are unable to help ourselves. We are living against God. Yeah. This is really, really powerful passage. This is Romans 5, start from verse 1. I love Bible that way.
Yeah, the Bible is so powerful. It's so powerful, Arla. It's a powerful book. He said, therefore, since we have been justified by faith, we have peace with God through our Lord Jesus Christ. Through him, we have also obtained access by faith into this grace in which we stand, and we rejoice in hope of the glory of God. Not only that, but we rejoice in our suffering, knowing that suffering produces endurance. Wow. That is so true, man. And endurance produces character, for real. And character produces hope. And hope does not put us to shame, because God's love has been poured into our heart through the Holy Spirit, who has been given to us. For while we were still weak, at the right time Christ died for the ungodly. For one will scarcely die for a righteous person, though perhaps for a good person one would dare even to die. But God showed his love for us in that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Look what he says here. For one will scarcely, to be real with you, people, because of us, because of our nature, will scarcely die for a person, scarcely die for a righteous person. You know, they will save their own life and leave a person to die. People, you know, but he's saying that, but God showed his love for us in that while we were still sinners. So can you imagine dying for bad people? So some people will scarcely die for a good person, a righteous person, but here it is, Christ died for the most wretched people, sin, including myself. Since therefore we have now been justified by his blood, much more shall we be saved by him from the wrath of God. For if while we were enemies, we were reconciled to God by the death of his son, much more now that we are reconciled, shall we be saved by his life. So we are saved by the life of Christ, yes? More than that, we also rejoice in God through our Lord Jesus Christ, through whom we have now received reconciliation. Beautiful, man.
Isn't that powerful, brother?
Yes, beautiful, beautiful.
This is one of my favorites. 1 Corinthians 13 and Romans 5 and Jeremiah 29:11. This Jeremiah is just 29. One. Yeah, that is one of the powerful verses.
Let me find it. Jeremiah 20. You said 29:11?
Yes.
The Bible is just powerful all over, my sister. When you read the Bible, you feel, when you read the Quran, you feel like you just read a filthy version of a filthy version of My Father, Son Johnson. And you read the Bible, then you realize, like, wow, this is deep stuff. This is, you know. And then the crazy Quran said, if you can write a verse like this, be like, what? Jeremiah 29 verse what?
11.
11, yeah. If you can write a verse like this, wow. I can't write a verse telling people to cut people's head off. Is that crazy? I can't write a verse telling people to cut another man's head off. Wow, isn't that crazy? You see, the God of Islam is nothing but a man. Okay, here we go. For I know for I know the plans that I have for you, declare the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and not and a hope, to give you a future and a hope. For I know the plans I have for you, declare the Lord, plan for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. Beautiful.
Amen, brother.
Beautiful. Beautiful,
Yes.
beautiful, man. You know, so when you and this is so crazy when they tell you about this Quran that you know, I said you can't write a higher like this, and they say, oh, I can't write a higher telling somebody I want to cut off their head, and how is it hard to tell somebody that I want to cut your head off? You know, you want to tell me that I can't write a higher like Surah 9 verse 5 or Surah 9 verse what's that, 29?
29,
Surah,
29, yeah.
Yes, yeah. Surah 8 verse 39. I can't write an ayah like that. Of course I can.
That's why I wanted to that we end your amazing stream with such powerful verses, because we have the Bible. Praise the Lord.
Yes, powerful, powerful. Nothing as shallow without depth. You know, this is the Bible is a deep book and for deep people, and you know, and that's why when you see the Muslims say this about Paul saying that the law brought death, he doesn't understand that yes, the law brought death. The law brought death, and the law points you to life. But it does brought death, because even in a country where it's even in a country, if he says to you that if you murder, you shall be killed. If there was no law that says if you murder, you shall be killed, then you could murder people and get away with it. But the moment the law says if you murder, you should be killed, then the law brought death. And not only that, sinner, the law tells you that sinners shall be destroyed. So the moment you are sinning and the law come along and show you, point out what your sin is, the law brought death to you. The law make you aware of your death. That, hey, dude, you're going to die. You're going to die. But without no law, then there could be no punishment, because that's all. God doesn't punish people without any law. You know, if he didn't give you any form of warning, he would not he would have never destroy you. He will never destroy you. And this is why the Bible says sin is a transgression of the law. So if you don't have no law, you cannot transgress. But even people without law, they have a law in them. God make you that way. Even the people that God did not give a law to, a specific law to, there's a law written in them not to kill each other. For real. Even the people who don't know about the Bible, there's still a law written inside them not to do these evil that they do. You know? Where do you think that people get this idea that I should help someone? Where do you know that people get this idea that I shouldn't kill someone? I should feed someone. If someone is sick, I should bring healing or medicine to that person as much as possible, because it is innate in us. It is in us. We are created in the image of God, and the image of God is love. So we are created with that innate law of love. You know, so I want to say
that.
Yeah, my sister, I want to say peace out, because I got to run to the job to take care of those who cannot take care of themselves.
Yes,
so,
I have to sleep. It's past midnight here also. Half past midnight in Austria.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always go on my because I travel a lot, and I always go on my the internet and look up countries like Austria, New Zealand, Australia. I always look up places like those in Africa, you know, and places where I've planned to visit one day in my life.
In Europe, it's almost half past midnight.
Yes, yeah, you're right. Yes, 6 hours. Yeah, 6 hours ahead. Yeah, it's 6 o'clock
I
here.
wish.
6.
Yeah, I wish you
6:20.
peaceful shift, brother. Peaceful
All right,
shift.
my sister. It's always be, you know, it's actually two of us Jamaican working together tonight, and when we work together, not only when we work together, but you know, it's mostly African that work there, and we have so many conversation, that so many similarities. Not that when like a Caucasian American is there, we don't have peace. But when Africans come together, because I regard myself as an African, when we come together, we have so much to talk about. You know, while we're working, we're talking about life. You know, if you talk to a Caucasian American about certain things, they will be amused by it and they cannot relate to it. So it's different when a person can relate to something, and sometimes you get back to your deep and talk about deep things when you're really talking, and the job when you're working with someone who is from the same culture as you are. So sometimes, like tonight, I work with a Jamaican guy, and I know we have a lot of things to talk about in Jamaica and stuff like that. So I'm sure it's gonna be peaceful. I just hope that, you know, all the residents stay well, they stay healthy. When I say resident, I mean in nursing homes, you know, because I work in a nursing facility tonight. In nursing homes, they call resident. It's patients, but they call them resident. I just hope that all the patients are healthy tonight. No one gets sick and have to be sent to the hospital or anywhere. But, you know, just pray that everything goes good. And God with us, whatever God will is, let it be done. So my sister, God bless you.
God bless you, brother.
All righty, man.
Peace be with
And
you all.
Yes. And as I go out, I want to say our praises to the triune God, the God who give us wisdom to decipher things and to make sense of sensible things and to make nonsense of things that are nonsense. And Islam is nothing but nonsense.